Jacob Zuma speaking earlier. Omry Makgoale is a veteran member of the ANC, watching all of this very closely. Omry, good afternoon to you and good to chat again. It seems to me that Jacob Zuma is giving the ANC a real headache if they talk about him. They sort of legitimize him, and yet I don't think they can ignore him.
Yes, look, he's creating a lot of problems for ANC, and both inside and outside the ANC. Inside the ANC, because he's got allies inside the ANC. He's part of that RET faction. That RET faction, some members are still inside the ANC, others are outside the ANC. So, but they still communicate. And outside, they formed new political parties. Four latest political parties were formed recently, and all of them by former members of what we call RET faction. And so that's why it's a lot of problems for the ANC, because now it's dividing, breaking down the ANC voters, into camps, one outside the ANC, one inside the ANC. So it's a big problem what he's doing. And I think what Comrade Dolo is saying, that they should all be suspended or considered to be expelled, I think is correct for ANC's protection in the short term basis, before these coming elections. But it's not going to be a permanent solution what he's proposing. Permanent solution will require changing how we elect leaders inside the ANC.
Well, there's a whole lot there. But I mean, so Jacob Zuma said several times and consistently from over the weekend and up to now that Zuma has expelled himself from the ANC, and I think it was Gwede Mantashe, the chair of the ANC, who said something similar earlier in the year. But MK, the other political party that Zuma belongs to, says he will die a member of the ANC. Should the ANC just say, look, he's expelled, not he's expelled himself, just actually do it?
Yes, I think ideally, Stephen, I think they should do that. As a former president of the ANC, he's a big personality inside the ANC, so he should be formally expelled, and through the disciplinary process, like we expelled Malema, we expelled Kalnihaus, and we expelled Omry Makgoale. He should be expelled in a similar manner after disciplinary action. And a press conference called that he is expelled, he's no longer the ANC president. So formally, from the Lutuli House, he should be expelled. But they don't have the courage, the current leadership at Lutuli House, to actually follow that process, disciplinary process and until expulsion. They don't have that courage, they don't have that will at the moment. And this is why this is causing problems inside and outside the ANC. But mainly, it's because they used to work under Zuma. They were his subordinates when he was the president for the last 9 years, when he was in charge, and they worked under him. And most of the things that happened, wrong things that happened, they happened in their eyes, in front of their eyes. And they left Zuma to do some of those things in front of their eyes. And this is why they don't have the courage and the will to actually discipline him and expel him in a formal way. Give him a red card, and he should leave the ANC. They don't have that courage at them, but that should be the right thing to do.
There was a warning from the Water Affairs Minister, Newzroom Afrika. He gave an interview and he said that he was a bit concerned about security after the formation of this new political party, Umkhonto weSizwe. He said, using that name because Umkhonto weSizwe was the armed wing of the ANC in the 1960s, and after that, that some people may believe they have to fight. That's what Umkhonto weSizwe is about. He's saying people might think that. And we all remember, in a way, the violence that happened in 2021, 2022, the violence that followed the decision to send Jacob Zuma to jail. Could this lead to violence? I mean, I thought, Newzroom Afrika, maybe it was a little far-fetched to me. How do you read it?
I don't think we should ignore what Newzroom Afrika is saying. When you consider what happened after that Zuma's arrest and in 2021, when there was what I would call riots in KZN and Gauteng, the malls looted and the places destroyed, and it should not be ignored. In a sense that some of these people who are members of MK political parties are actually former members of MK. Some of them are actually former members of MK. And when you consider that some of them, as part of the RET faction inside the ANC, they are no longer in power. They've lost power, and some of them are desperate. So they can really, destroy the country, run riots in the country, if the security services are not careful about it. But as you see, our current security is not as good as it should be. And so maybe Mkunu has got a reason to be worried about, because some of these former MK comrades were trained in various things, including sabotage, petrol bombs, all those things that would turn that 2021 riots into a small thing, into a picnic. So he is right to be worried, because our security services are not as good as they should be. So I understand his concern. But I think that if our security is careful and maybe it's up to scratch, they should be in a position to handle that. But it should not be ignored, because these are former MK soldiers, some of them, and they were trained to do some of the things maybe worse than those who were involved in 2021. I would say that's a reason why we should be careful about it.
Omri, I mean, this is all making the election for the ANC harder and harder. We know that it's possible that the ANC could lose KwaZulu-Natal in the elections, in the provincial elections this year. Although I have to say, I don't know which combination of parties could be formed to actually govern without the ANC in KZN, but that's another story. Zuma himself, probably impossible for the ANC to campaign against in some ways. So all of this just makes it harder for the party, right? Especially in KZN.
Yes, I think it's going to be, KZN, ANC is going to find it very difficult. But the main reason, Stephen, is because the ANC candidate lists are not as ethical and clean as we would wish them to be. Ideally, the candidate list should not have anybody implicated in any scandal, from Zondo, VBS, eThekwini Solid Waste. All those people who are implicated should not be there in ANC candidate list, whether in KZN or Gauteng or anywhere. And that gives us a better chance as the ANC of getting more votes. But if we have all those people in the candidate list, then the MK political party will just be adding fuel into that. And some of the people, of course, will vote for Zuma, the former president, and some, of course, will vote thinking that they are voting for former MK. And that way, then, they will reduce the ANC vote. But I don't think it's going to be much. I think the main party in KZN to watch in these elections will be IFP in my mind, and the DA. And but I think IFP will be the party to watch if ANC does not manage to clean up the candidate list. They have to clean up the candidate list in KZN to have any better chance of competing.
Omry Makgoale, thanks very much indeed. Veteran member of the ANC, really do appreciate the time.